What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brutal Planet Comics. I'm your host, Dre the Brute Daniels. It's been a while, but we're here with another episode of the Indie Corner, where I sit down with everybody from the indie community, writers, artists, directors, producers. Doesn't matter if you're in the game, I want to talk to you. Today we have ourselves a very special guest. She is the writer of Forces of Nature. Give it up, everybody, for Kelly Guentner.
Hey, y'all.
What is going on, my friend? How are you?
Good. I'm very good. I've been busy.
Ooh.
I'm always busy.
Always. So I've seen burning the candles and not only the both ends, but probably somewhere in the middle as well.
Yeah, that candle has so many wicks.
Well, Kelly, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to come and speak with me about all the great stuff that you're working on. From the bottom of my heart, I really do appreciate it. I know you're a very, very busy lady.
Yes. This is one of two podcasts I'm recording today.
Ooh, aren't I especial? All right, yes. I made the cut. I'll take that.
You did. Thanks for having me, too.
Oh,
I'm
absolutely.
excited.
Absolutely. So, Kelly, before we jump into all the meat and potatoes, let's talk about you a little bit. Who are you? Where'd you come from? How did we get here?
Well, I'm from Wisconsin, and I have been into geeky stuff since I was like 4 or 5 when She-Ra was on the air.
Ooh.
That was my girl. Like, that was formational to my feminism. And so I would run around just pretending to be She-Ra. My dad made me a wooden sword and shield.
Nice.
And I would run around holding it in the air like I'm She-Ra, Princess of Power. Like, my dad enabled me very, very young, and I love him for it. I still pick his brain about cosplay stuff.
Shout outs to Dad. I'm with that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And so growing up, of course, all the 90s cartoons, you had X-Men, you had Batman the Animated Series. You had Ninja Turtles, and it's not a cartoon, but Power Rangers.
Sure. We'll move it in there.
Oh yeah, like all that good stuff. So I loved all that stuff, but I also kind of loved it in secret because I was like, no one's gonna like a girl who likes geeky stuff. So all those guys out there who go, oh, well, girls didn't like me because I like this stuff. I'm like, shut up. Just shut up. I thought nobody would like me because I like geeky stuff. So I pretended to be a whole different person. Like, ridiculous.
Yeah.
You know, like, okay. So finally, when I met my husband, when I was in my mid-20s, he's like, you like all this stuff. He's like, why are you pretending not to like all this stuff? I'm like, you know what? That's a good question. Yeah. My little geek cred thing that I like to brag about. And yes, this is a brag.
Nice.
So I grew up right next to Lake Geneva, where Dungeons and Dragons was invented. So some of the people, we went to church with someone who worked for the company, and I got hooked up with posing for the cover of the Dungeons and Dragons tie-in novels, the re-release.
Really?
So Dragons of Autumn Twilight. Yeah, I posed for the character Gold Moon.
Okay.
No, not the first version, but if you're looking up like the 25th anniversary edition.
Okay, anniversary.
And yeah, that's my claim to fame. Like,
okay, that's still. I'm gonna say, if it was the first version, you are aging like a fine wine, girl. I'm like, okay.
Bless you.
Like, oh.
No, the second version, but still, like, so it was drawn by, I believe, Matt Stawicki. I think I'm probably butchering his name, but it was really cool. We got to like go to his house and play dress up.
That's pretty awesome.
For pictures that he then painted, and yeah. So that's my little geek cred going back.
Wow. Look at here. I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was talking to celebrities. Somebody get me a paper and pen. Okay. Well, that's cool, Kelly. That's really awesome. So you pretty much grew up in nerd culture, like a lot of us did, and had to hide an aspect of yourself, which once again, a lot of us did, especially depending on your community. Like you being a lady, as you know, it would be like, oh, you're a tomboy, or whatever the terms we used back then, whatever it
right.
was. But so you decided to hide an aspect of yourself. Like me, I grew up in a community. I mean, granted, I like playing sports and other stuff like that too. But I was elbow deep in nerddom. When I was born, there was a Batman comic in my hand. You know what I mean? It's
I love it.
it just came out. I got it. You know what I mean? But I get where you're coming from when you feel like you have to fit a certain mold in order to be accepted by your peers and things like that. So it's insane 20 whatever many years later now comics and video games and D&D and all that stuff is mainstream and everybody's now hopping on the bandwagon. I'm like, excuse me, where were y'all 25, 30 years ago? I could have used you. We could have used your help.
Right. And now we look like we're just hopping on the trend.
Exactly. Even though we've been the ones that's on this train. We built this train. What I'm talking about.
Right.
We built this train, and now everybody else is riding. It's like, oh, when did you start? When I start? I built this. I laid down the tracks. But it's interesting. It's interesting how things change and how our world has changed, especially within media and all that great stuff. So that's great. That's great. I appreciate you sharing that with me. So we grew up a fan of nerd stuff. So when did we decide we wanted to transition to actually being in the industry?
So for writing, I started out when I was fresh out of high school. Well, I was writing with online communities back in Yahoo groups. I don't know if you're old enough to remember Yahoo.
Yes.
That's a throwback, right?
Don't let the black don't crack fool you. This I remember that.
Actually, I was doing that even before I graduated high school. So I started doing that when I was like 16, 17.
Okay.
And it's really fun because I'm still friends with some of the people that I wrote with back then.
Oh, awesome.
And so they're like lifelong friends. So that was Buffy. It was my first fandom.
Okay.
And that was my gateway into really starting. I always liked writing as a kid, and that was my gateway into starting to spread my wings and explore original stuff. So probably like 1920, I started writing television scripts and treatments, and I actually did enter a competition for like a pilot script treatment, and I placed, but I didn't get that high. But I was like,
that's something.
It was, especially for how young I was. I was like, it gave me a taste. I'm like, I want to keep doing this. So then I started writing my superhero novel pretty early on. It started out as fanfic of X-Men, and then like I made it my own.
It's a heck of a transition. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
I feel like and I like that a lot of writers are more open now that they do write fanfic, or they did write fanfic, and a lot of novels that are on the shelves started out as fanfic, but then you learn your writing from that, and then you take your characters and you make them your own. Exactly.
And I appreciate you bringing that up too, because as we've been in this industry for quite a long time, fan fiction is always looked at as, what's the nice word of putting it, hot garbage of of production. But it can pretty much foster a lot of creative juices. It's like I like to consider fan fiction, when used in its proper context anyway. I like to think of it as like a goulash of like, hey, you know what? Let's put a whole bunch of cool stuff together and let's see what amalgamation will come of it. And sometimes you can taste that amalgamation. You'll be like, I can taste the butternut squash and the chicken and the beans. But then you're like, there's too much paprika in this. You know what I mean? Like but
and the paprika is usually adult content.
Exactly. Yeah. I couldn't put it better myself.
No shame. You know what?
It is, and it's always used in that type of power fantasy, as it were. And but if we just take it for what it is and what it can be used for, it can be a very, very powerful tool. Like I can honestly say I've never wrote a fan fiction, but I can say that I have used a formula of the fan fiction to help create a story.
That makes sense.
Trying to like usually in my case it will be self-insertion for whatever, pick a story like Batman or something. I'll be the Robin, whatever. And I'd put myself in that, but then I'd expand on the ideas of what does a sidekick really mean? How can he take this to the next level? How can he be more useful? And then just kind of roll with it on that, and then take those ideas, put it in a separate story, new writing. That's not English. I've taken I've taken what I was growing and put it in a different incubator, and then turn it into something fresh. So yeah, absolutely, it has its place, but a lot of folks have lost sight of that.
Well, and a really cool thing about fanfic, especially in the earlier days of fanfic, is it filled a need for representation.
That's fair.
So there's a lot. The industry is starting to grow as far as representation goes, but a lot of fanfics out there were people writing in queer representation, writing in representation for people of color, writing in just representation for more female characters. That's where they weren't finding that in mainstream media. And so it really gave people a chance to kind of insert that where they couldn't find that in the mainstream media.
I can see that. And I think it has its place. I think that's it's important. It's important for where fan fiction was in its early stages in history that actually help impact things positively. I think today now is a little bit more extreme by taking fan fiction just pretty much just pushing it to the moon and whatever variations that may be. But definitely the foundation that you use, that actually makes a lot of sense in how you used it. Absolutely.
I feel like there's always been the extremes of fanfic and fandom, but there's always also those tools, and there's always also the chance for younger writers and newer writers to learn.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
It's a double-edged sword, like anything with fandom.
I always like to I consider myself, I'm a student of the game, never a master.
That's how I feel too.
Yeah, there's always something to learn.
The day you think that you know everything is the day that you're a hack.
Exactly. I could not agree more. Absolutely. Well, thank you for sharing that aspect of your journey. So let's talk about this fan fiction transition here.
Yes.
Let's get into some of the meat and potatoes, some of the work that you've been doing here. And let's dive deep a little bit into forces of nature. Now, I know that Scorcher was your first one, right?
Yep.
Memory serves me right. And Thin Ice is coming.
Thin Ice is out, actually.
Okay. Talk to me. All right, talk to me.
Yeah, so Scorcher started out, like I said, fanfic. My character was an original X-Men character way back in the day, and then I was like, you know what, I really like this character, so I'm gonna keep playing with her, take her out of that world, and then I'm gonna create a whole new world around her. And so yes, you get, if you read it, if you like X-Men, you're gonna see traces of X-Men in there, but I didn't rip off Stan Lee's X-Men. I would never presume to do that, because Stan Lee's X-Men and Marvel's X-Men,
of course,
brilliant, but I want to tell my own story, obviously. So I took my original character, and basically she is a pyrokinetic who was orphaned as a child through some traumatic circumstances and was taken in by this villainous organization who molded her into their agent. So she's committing crimes for them, but she's all grown up now, and she's kind of realizing that's maybe not the life path she wants.
Okay.
And then she meets a guy who's more on the right side of the law. And so he's kind of the catalyst for, or he kind of throws a wrench in things, and also is kind of the catalyst for her realizing more and more that, yeah, she doesn't want the criminal life. So it's a redemption arc.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's not half bad. Okay, so with your first book, what was the creative process? Now, you talked about the X-Men being a jumping off point for you for the creative melting pot. But as far as the story crafting was concerned, how did you go from A to Z for this arc?
So really interested in psychology. I studied it for a little bit in school, and I'm really fascinated at what makes people tick. So whenever I'm writing, I really like to dissect the characters and get down to why they are the way they are. So that kind of shows with Aiden. She's not my self-insert, even though it can seem like there are similarities, but
That's fair.
because she is a psychology student, but it's interesting that she's a psychology student because she's still blind to her own psychological hangups.
Okay.
But
okay.
I really dug into like her traumas and how she was raised and how it made her the way she is. And then Marty, her love interest, had a relatively happy childhood, and I really dug into why he is the way he is. And then in the second book, I had the chance to kind of expand the core cast and really explore a few more characters. And the second book's really fun because so Aiden made some certain decisions and has to deal with the fallout of those decisions. And
consequences and repercussions.
Yeah, they didn't get to live happily ever after at the end of the first book. Spoilers, but I mean, it's a trilogy. What do you expect?
Yeah, and see, this is my thing, and I like that. See, I won't call myself a cynic, but I love when our heroes lose. I'm a big proprietor of heroes losing. It's like my favorite thing to do. Like when I was writing, when I started writing Trouble years ago, and now we're almost done with this arc, 8 issues in. Jesus Christ!
Wow.
Goodness gracious, it's almost over. And when I started writing this, I wanted to tell the hero's journey, but at the same time, like, yo, I want this dude to lose. I want him to feel bad. I want him to overcome things. I want everything to just be horrible. But I had to dial it back. I had to dial back.
You're like, at some point, it's just torture.
Yes, like when my first original script of it, it was just him losing every fight. It was like his friend's turn on, like it was bad. Like it was really rough. I'm sitting there like,
you were working through some stuff.
Oh, I was in a dark place. But anyway, that's not the point.
I mean, or is it?
Or is it?
I'm pulling out my psychology.
Behold! But then I end up cleaning it up and like making it like granted, he still goes through the ringer because you got to. But when he gets the wins, it feels earned. It feels like you've gone through something. It feels like you grew with this character. So I like that. I like the fact that you got a whole arc set up about real character growth, and everybody doesn't live happily ever after. Like you're doing a trilogy in that way. And like me, I'm kind of doing the same thing, except I'm doing them separately. So it's like one arc is I like to use Star Wars. It's easier for me. The first arc is A New Hope. The second arc is Empire. So you already know how bad this John's gonna get. And the third one is Return of the Jedi. I
love it.
It makes it easier to follow, and as the audience is going with the journey, you see the highs and the lows, so you can still feel like, oh, come on, please get this win. So it like makes you feel good, puts you in the feels. So I like that.
Exactly.
That's cool. So you got a trilogy coming. So we got the Scorch, which is the fire. We got the ice. So what's our third?
The third is going to delve into electricity and water.
Ooh.
It doesn't have a title yet, but
okay,
it's definitely gonna explore.
Okay.
It's definitely an elemental theme.
Okay. I like that. Actually, electricity is actually one of my favorite elements. Actually, I'm really like when I was a kid, I was really into. I used to study static and how it worked.
I love it.
Just full on psychotic breakdown when it came to electricity. I said, hey, if you move at 37 Kelvin, that's
the
heat.
Electricity-based character is there from book 1, but he's getting a little more of a time to shine in book 3, and I'm so excited.
Okay, and as you see, I like that look in your eyes, Kelly. I like that look because that's the same look I get when I'm talking about a particular character. Like when I wrote this arc, everybody was like, "Oh, the main character is gonna be your favorite," because I'm like, no, 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 no. There's a character that I wrote called Sharkbait, which is basically a tribute to the creature of the Black Lagoon.
Oh, I love it.
And I love him so much. And it's like, it's not even fair. Because I'm like, I put a piece of me in this. Like, he's a villain, but he's like that villain that doesn't want to be, but he has to be. I'm like that's me, baby. That's me right there. Like, I put a little piece of, and like every time I think about him, I'm like, oh my God, that's my boy. You know what I mean? It just gets that. Now I get that glow. I get that glow, and I just saw it right in your peepers. Yep. I just saw it, and that gets me excited to see how excited you are about the things that you're crafting. That's awesome.
Oh, thanks.
That's awesome. So I can't wait to see what you come up with. So Kelly, you are not just only a writer, you're a cosplayer. You are one half of the Phoenix Sisters.
Yes, I am. And I need to tell you my cosplay origin story.
Okay.
That's a fun story. Sorry to cut you off.
No, there. Please.
But this origin story is kind of bananas.
Okay. Talk to me.
So I was a Superman fan growing up, of course. Really loved Lois and Clark.
Great show.
Love that show. So, and my sister and I kind of had a special connection to Superman because we made it a point to watch all the Christopher Reeve movies on video after Lois and Clark was over. We kind of needed our Superman fix because we kind of missed them being in the theaters. We were a little too young. So we were going on a road trip to Florida in our early 20s, and we got a little off course, and this was pre-GPS days.
Oh boy.
Yeah, dating myself again. And it was snowing, and we needed gas, and it was like 2 a.m, and all of a sudden I see this big sign looming out of the snow, like a literal sign in my life also, that says Metropolis, home of Superman. I'm like, we need to stop for gas there. Obviously. Also, can we just like move there? But obviously it was 2 a.m, so we couldn't.
Pack your bags.
Basically, I still want to move there. I love that place. But so we stopped for gas, and the gas station right off the freeway. So this place is Metropolis, Illinois, all the way at the bottom of Illinois, on the Paducah, Kentucky border. If you've never been, you need to go. But so we stopped for gas, and the gas station right off the freeway is literally a tourist trap. And when I say tourist trap, I mean that as a compliment. It's just got all the Superman paraphernalia you could possibly want. So my sister and I bought a few things. One of the things I bought was a mug that says Metropolis, Illinois, home of Superman, and has a Superman logo. So we keep going on our trip, and something like 5 years later, I'm looking at my Metropolis mug, and I'm like, I wonder what else is in that town. I don't know why it took me 5 years. And so at this point, I've always loved doing elaborate costumes at Halloween, and always kind of thought like, man, I wish I had more excuses to wear costumes. So I discovered that there was a Superman celebration in Metropolis every year. And I tell my sister, I'm like, okay, well, pack your, it's months away. I'm booking us a hotel, pack your bags, we're going. And I saw that there was a costume contest, so I brought costumes for us.
Sweet.
But the costumes I brought were a little too warm for Metropolis in June. No. So I'm walking down the street, and I didn't realize that like people were going to be in costume when it wasn't the costume contest. So I'm walking down the street, I see this guy in full costume. This guy is now one of my good friends. I see this guy in full costume. He's like dressed as Batman, and I look at my sister, and then look at the guy, and I look at my sister, and I look at the guy. I'm like, you can do that? And I'm like, Michelle, we need to leave and go to the mall so I can throw together a costume. And she looked at me like I was nuts, which, fair. I'm like, she's like, are you serious? We just got here. I'm like, yes, I'm serious.
Do it.
Yeah. So we did. I
Wow.
I'm the big sister. I'm pushy. So we left. We went to the mall, and I put together a Black Canary costume.
Sweet.
With like, I already had the black boots, but yeah, I found fishnets. I found a swimsuit. It was at the time of Hannah Montana, so Hannah Montana wigs were everywhere. It was a terrible wig.
So all the stars aligned. Good Lord, that's awesome.
And from that day forward, like, I'm walking down the street. People were so nice, so welcoming, and I'm like, this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
Yep. Yep.
And that was 2008. So.
All right. And so since 2008, the fire began to burn.
Yeah.
Within you.
Next year is 15 years.
That's, oh my God, that's right. Oh my God, 2000, like, to me, 2008 is like 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's still like, oh, 10 years ago. I'm like, wait, no, it's not.
To me, 1999 is like a year ago. So I'm just, when you said it, I'm like 2008 wasn't 15 years. I said, wait a minute. like, oh my God, brain. Jesus Christ, time is flying. So you got the burn, and then you were like, I'm just gonna stick with this for the rest of my days, and I'm down with that. Like, I like to cosplay myself. I like to have fun with it. Usually at least I do at least one con a year, when I just, instead of just working or whatever, I just go in there and have fun, dress up. Like this year, I went as the Scarlet Spider. Had a whole lot of fun. Ooh. That junk was dope. I made my own latex, the whole 9 yards. I had so much fun. It was dope. And now I'm getting my wife into it, so now she does it every year with me. She usually likes to go as Chun-Li, which is fine. So she participates, so I'll take the win. So, but I understand, and like, and actually, my wife, when she had her first experience with the cosplay communities and being in there at Comic-Con and all that stuff like that, how she saw such a welcome. You're not going to get. You'll find the nicest people people on planet Earth are in those spheres. They really are, and they're very encouraging. They're like, oh, I like your costume. Can I take a picture with you? She ain't never experienced nothing like that before. She was like, oh my God, is this what you always do? Yes, this is what it's like. That's why we keep coming back.
Exactly. It's so much fun.
It's addictive.
It's a community. It's like a legitimate community. I've always liked to consider it like the farmers market, like the the cosplay community, and like all those that are in cons and all that stuff. It's a farmers market. If you got a pumpkin, I got squash. You know what I mean? Like it's always an interchange. It's always an interchange of ideas and how to improve and it's always encouraging. I've always loved it myself.
Exactly.
Yes, so I can see how it got so addictive for you. For sure.
Right.
For sure, but that's awesome.
Never felt like I fit anywhere, and all of a sudden I'm like, these are my people.
Yep, these are my people.
I'm home.
Behold your people. Yeah, exactly. So Kelly, thank you so much for sharing that aspect of your cosplaying career with us in that aspect. And so you and you've been doing it for about 15 years now, and you're showing no signs of slowing down.
Much to my poor husband's chagrin. I mean, no, he's fine as long as I don't leave wig stands in the shower.
That's fair.
That's happened twice.
Oh my God.
Well, so that's where you style them, okay? The first time I forgot to warn him, and it was like a bright red wig, and he walked in and like freaked out because he thought it was like a haunted.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's fair.
A 3 foot tall, long red, scraggly wig because it was still wet. The second time I warned him and he still forgot, and with a long black wig. And okay, in my defense, I warned him.
I'll give you that one, Kelly.
It looked like the chick from The Ring.
It always does. It's always a chick from The Ring or The Grudge. It's always the same two. They just fit in the same thing. I'm like, what's that? Grudge person? Bye now. I got bounced.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but at least you warned them.
Everyone who wants a cosplay waifu, no, you don't.
Oh no.
It's terrifying. Also, we're running around in our wig caps. No.
Ooh, not the behind the scenes. We want the end result.
Basically. Yeah, but you can't touch the end result because then you'd mess up the costume.
That's also true.
Yep.
All of this is bad.
All of it's bad. All of it's bad.
But that's awesome. That's awesome. So, Kelly, one last thing.
Yes.
You've been on a brigade promoting the Multiverse fundraiser coming January 20th through the 22nd of 2023. And I myself will be participating this year, so I'm feeling good about that. So tell everybody, what's this whole event about? How can we get in touch, the whole 9 yards? What can we do with it?
All right. Yeah. So this is a free virtual convention that you can watch on Facebook, YouTube, and it also has a charity fundraising component. So every year we choose a different charity. This year is John Ritter Foundation for Aortic Health. And just a little bit about that cause. Basically, John Ritter, when he passed away, I don't know how many people remember this, but he was misdiagnosed as having a heart attack when he actually had an aortic dissection, which is just tragic. So it was an unnecessary death. And so since then, his wife, Amy, has been on a mission to raise awareness, to fund more research on this condition. And she's basically just been saving lives right and left. It's inspiring. So we're raising money for that. And Amy Gasbeck is one of our guests. We also have Armin Shimmerman, Beth Broderick, Cress Williams, Guy Gilchrist, Chris.
Awesome.
Oh, I know, right? Chris Cochet, Jason Bear, Victor Garber, William Catt, Amy Carrero, Brian Hull, Jennifer Cody, and then also author Carrie Schaefer and voice actors L.W. Salinas and Chris Jowers, and indie comic creators like yourself, indie authors, and we'll have some other fan-run panels. I'm actually going to be running a panel on fan fiction and the place in geek culture.
Ooh. Oh, isn't this timely? Oh,
it is. When the conversation actually went to I'm like, ooh, I already have my talking points.
Nice.
It's going to be so much fun. I've been doing these virtual conventions since January 2020, or not January, since June 2020.
June 2020. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
Yeah, actually, to tie it back into Superman Celebration, the first one I did was Superman Celebration weekend. A bunch of us were just really bummed that it wasn't happening. So we threw one on Zoom to kind of fill that void. Yeah. And we did get a few celebrities to show up, which was awesome.
Really? That's awesome.
Yeah. We and then we were like, this is so much fun. We should keep doing it. And then it just keeps growing. So this is our at first we were just kind of doing it more in an unofficial capacity, but this is our second one as a multiverse fundraiser and just being more serious about raising funds for charity and taking it more seriously, basically. Okay,
no, that's awesome, and I think that's a beautiful cause that you're doing. I love being a part of things that's in the indie sphere, especially for charity. I'm actually in the midst of doing another writing campaign for another charity in the UK, and I feel good about. I love doing that. I love participating in things that's actually helping folks, giving back, and giving somebody else an opportunity. And also, I get to meet a lot of cool people, so it's like it works out really well for me. So I'm really, really excited about this multiverse fundraiser. I love that. That's great. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah. Did you come up with that title?
I helped come up with it with Crayley and then our co-chair Kristen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
The fundraiser, the dad joke part was my idea, though.
Yeah, you gotta put a dad joke in there. What are we doing? Of course we have to. We have to. That's the way to make
Kristen
it work.
Did have someone tell her that they didn't think it was a real thing because they're like, you misspelled fundraiser. She's like, I can spell our event name correctly. Thank you.
Yes. Even if it was misspelled, who cares? Show up. You know, I mean, but you know, people are funny. So, but yeah, but that's awesome. I can't wait to be a part of it. I can't wait to be on the panel. I can't wait to talk to people. I live for this kind of stuff. So, so this is really fun. I'm really looking forward to it. And for those out there that are watching now, make sure you tune in. January 20th through the 22nd is going to be awesome.
And our donation link is open now.
Okay.
And every $10 donation does get you into our sweepstakes for our giveaway. We have basically mystery box giveaways. So we have been sharing for the last few months on our Facebook page what could be in the mystery box, because we got a lot of good prizes, but we just kind of put them all into the mystery boxes. So it's kind of like, if you like mystery boxes, this is for you. But we've got some really good prizes. Like,
who can resist the call of the mystery box?
Right. Last year, we let people choose from a list of prizes, and they found it really overwhelming. So we're like, this year, we're just going to take that stress out. It's a mystery box.
The mystery box. The glory personified. Everybody loves it. That's right. But that's awesome.
I love mystery boxes.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's so good. And I'm so glad that you're being a part of something that's this awesome, giving back and helping the charity. That's dope. I really like all that stuff. That's really, really awesome. That's really, really awesome. So, Kelly, where can we get our hands on your work? Where can we go and get our grubby fingers on it?
So you can find my book under Kelly Edwards. As we discussed before we started recording, Kelly Edwards is my pen name. It's easier to spell. You can find it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble. It should be pretty much anywhere you can buy books online. But definitely Amazon and Barnes & Noble. But I know my distribution is further than that.
Okay. Hey, that's a reach. We'll take that.
Yeah. I'm working on next year. I'm working on getting it into more physical stores. Right now, it is available. If you're in Chicago, there's a few copies of Scorch available at Quimby's, which is a really cool indie bookstore. So if you stop in there, you can get them there. But working on getting my physical reach out a little more next year.
Okay. Hey, goals. I'm with it. That's awesome. Well, Kelly, from the bottom of my cold, dark heart, I really do appreciate you stopping by the Indie Corner and sharing all this great work with us, sharing your wonderful origin story. We truly do appreciate you coming by and sharing it with us.
Thanks for having me. I had a lot of fun.
Oh, absolutely. It was a genuine pleasure. So everybody, check out Kelly and all her great work. I'm going to leave those links in the description section below. Don't forget about the Multiverse Fundraiser. Supports a good cause. Go ahead and get you some. Kelly is right there. And who am I? I'm Dre the Brute Daniels. Follow me on all my dope social media platforms. I'll put it right under my face. They're not there yet, but they will be. At TheBrute00 on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and if I feel like being silly, on TikTok. And do all those great YouTube things like comment, subscribe. When you subscribe, don't forget the little bell alert and share the video. As always, you guys have been awesome, and I'll catch you all next time. Also, if you want to support my channel, check out spinwiz.com or download the Spinwiz app and check out my comic series, Trouble. It was written with a lot of love, and it was definitely my favorite comic series to write. I've also written it in English and in Spanish, so whatever floats your boat, I got it for you. Thanks again, and check it out.